Back-to-back nights at the world's center of racing. I don't know about you, but I am definitely in. Last week, Carson McKenna became the 38th different winner in the championship's history, dating back to July of 2012. Will McKenna carry this momentum and do something very rare for a first-time winner and go back-to-back? Or will red plate holder Alex Abedi, helped by his championship-leading momentum, steal the show away? The German himself is coming off of his first win in Norway, the first time we have had back-to-back first-time winners since 2021B, when Bodie Cryer and Adam Thomas won at Bark River and Crandon. We'll be watching with excitement as we welcome you to the Overwatch Specialty Service NASA Rallycross Challenge. With Philip Kraus, I am Josh Mertz, live from the Daytona International Speedway on the Automotive Sports Network. And Phil, my question to you: we have a classic iRacing Rallycross layout. Daytona was one of the first and one of the most popular. This season has been all over so far while we were in Europe, but we come back to the States. Who's looking good, and what do you think?
Honestly, Josh, I don't know who's looking good, but you said Carson McKenna last time out, so they're looking pretty good. But yeah, it's one of the oldest tracks on the iRacing service for the Rallycross side of things, so a lot of these drivers had a lot of experience on this track, so should definitely be fun. Looking forward to it going forwards.
As we do have 15 cars here this evening, so we will have, hopefully, 4 heat races. We'll have to wait and see how the sim will split it for us. We're going to have 6 laps, Joker lap once, top 2 will transfer, semi-final or semi-finals, again, depending on how the sim works. We're going to get 2 of those or 1 of those, 5 laps, Joker lap once. And the feature, 10 laps, 10 cars, 2 Jokers here in Daytona Beach. So as we begin qualifying, we'll take a look here. Alex Abedi, our points leader with the red number plate. Cody Crosgrove with the blue number plate, the sportsman champion. So we'll take a look at the points in just a moment here. Once I handle making Justin Robichaux an admin in the session, but I don't know how to do that. We're figuring it out right now. I figured it out. All right, so, Phil, points coming into today in Daytona Beach. Alex Abedi has that red plate. He has 76 points. He's 12 up on Josh Clark, defending champion, Francois Martel, Magnus Okenhaug. No Robbie Laurel, but that's the top 5. And Justin Robichaux, no Matt Kingsbury, Cody Crosgrove, Brian Sawyer, Justin Mertz. So a couple of cars missing out of that top 10. Abedi had some issues last week in Barcelona, but he still maintained his points lead, and the German looking strong here today.
Yeah, he still maintained his points lead, but he lost a hefty chunk of points to Josh Clark that night. As you said, it's cut down to 12 points, but interesting to see how he'll rebound today at Daytona.
As the Sportsman Championship, Cody Crosgrove, 88 points, 73, Victor Aldrich. I don't believe we have Aldrich here tonight, so Jamison Huffman's going to be the closest battle for Cody Crosgrove in the Sportsman Cup. Constructors Championship, TWR Subi Squad ahead of TWR Fiesta Siesta. It's 136 to 118, so an 18-point gap there. And the Manufacturers Championship, 96 to Subaru, 90 to Ford, it's a 6-point difference. But if you're saying that Abedi's fast, Martel is fast as well. He's in a Volkswagen Beetle, so we're going to have a couple of different manufacturers at the front of the field today.
Yeah, Martel's just went nearly 3.5 tenths quicker than Abedi there, and Abedi already had half a second on the rest of the field, so those two are a bit in the league of their own right now, but I think some of these drivers still have a few laps to run before we know for sure what the starting order is going to be.
As a couple things, we have a couple minutes. Carson McKenna, first-time winner last week. We talked about Alex Abedi. Despite having a bad race, he was able to maintain the points lead. And Crosgrove in the points lead. What would be your mindset when you know your second in points isn't here? I mean, would you still push?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I usually treated almost every race the same unless it was near the end of the season. But it's round 4, and third in points is only 3 points back a second, so I just treat it like another race, especially at this point in the season.
I have to roast you on a live stream. You joined the session as a driver.
I already said this, Josh.
Oh, I must have missed that. I'm really good at my job. So luckily, there was 15 cars here, and that's a 16th slot, so luckily it doesn't mess anything up. So, just under 2 minutes, Martel is up by 3/10 on a Betty. Jake Robichaux moves to Subaru from the Volkswagen. Let's see if Martel's still on track. He is completing his qualifying run in the Volkswagen versus a Ford versus a Subaru. So we have 2 Volkswagens here tonight. It's Francois Martel and it's Chris Wetz. Everybody else is in Subarus aside from Abedi, Crosgrove, Sawyer. And that's it. So it's mostly Subarus in this field.
Yeah,
and I've never understood why, Phil. Why is the Subaru more popular?
I mean, for me, I think it's just an easier car to get to grips with compared to the other two, and I think, like, at the limit, most of the cars are quite equal, but you can definitely get closer quicker with the Subaru. That might just be a me experience thing, but yeah, but I want to direct our attention real quick to Marcus Palacio in 3rd place in qualifying right now. It's a really impressive showing for him. I know he made the final last week. I think that might be the first final he's made, but he's had a really strong turn of form recently these last 2 races.
As our broadcast brought to you by Overwatch Specialty Service, along with the Overwatch Specialty Service NASA Rallycross Challenge. The only thing more unique than your problem is our solution. For more information, check out osscenter.com. So we want to thank for Overwatch for all of their support. Couple seconds left in qualifying. It looks like everyone's pretty much done with their laps, and Martel is going to be on pole unless Magnus does something crazy. We won't go into detail of what was happening during the drivers' meeting. All I want to tell you is we were getting a live stream.
Magnus was busy.
He was in a porta potty down on track, and now he's in the car, and I don't know if he'll be able to finish his lap. He's not, so he's going to be 15th. For the man that formerly won here in Daytona for his first career win.
It's a rough qualifying for Magnus, but he got in the session a bit late, and he only had that chance to do 1 lap, and there must have been a mistake on it or something if he's down in 15th. But on to Heat 1, Josh.
As Heat number 1 here in Daytona Beach. I don't know if you see anybody on track, but I don't see anybody on track. Now I see Francois Martel on track in car number 10, pole position for the French-Canadian. As we try and take a look here, Brock Quinn in the 005, Josh Klog, defending champion in the NASA Rallycross Challenge, the only car we're missing. As we get ready for Heat 1, 4 cars, 6 laps, Joker once, here in Daytona Beach. Green flag. Martel looks like he missed a shift, apologies there, in the 10, put him to 4th, down to turn 1, McKenna on the outside. Had a run on Klog, thought better of it, and now Brock Quinn going to be side by side with him as we take the first lap. Quinn to the inside and put last week's winner to 3rd. Contact nearly. I don't know if they hit over the jump. Quinn runs it wide. And into McKenna. These 3 are ping-ponging into each other. McKenna drifts through the corner. Josh Klog loves this. He's already up by 2.25 seconds. 2.5. As we get through the dirt.
Carson McKenna was essentially getting pushed on their right rear quarter panel by Brock Quinn through the entire dirt right-hander, and that cost them both so much time. But Martel stalling on the grid has really opened this race up. He definitely has the quickest pace of these guys, if we're just looking at qualifying as an example. So be interesting to see if he can close down on Klog, and if he'll even go for the move on Klog, because the top 2 are looking to transfer through to the feature here. So it's just a case of bonus points.
In the first lap here in Daytona Beach, Josh Klog, Francois Martel. That is the top 2. We're going to take a look once lap times start rolling through. And remember, we can't take the Joker on the very first lap, passing the start-finish line. The sim does not allow us. And this track is different. We did not touch on that in the opener. There's commitment lines for the Joker, which is kind of odd. But if you go over the line, whether exiting or entering, you are going to get a penalty.
Yeah, that's always been a case at Daytona, Josh, and it's caught me out a few times in practice for sure, but luckily not in the race. But yeah, it's something extra these drivers have to look out for during the race. I
want your opinion on this. Josh Klog ran a 40.783. Francois Martel a 40.019. Volkswagen better on fresh track? I think that's what it was before. Could be wrong.
No, it usually was the opposite. Unless things have changed, I haven't looked at the build notes recently for these Rallycross cars, but usually the Subaru is a bit better on the fresh track, and then the other two really caught up as the track wore in. But yeah, Francois Martel is flying right now. There's no other way to put it. It'll just be a question of if he can get by the 199 car of our defending champion.
4/10 up that last lap. Gap is 6/10. It is shrinking as we take cross flags here in Daytona for heat number 1. Martel, so much better line through the corner. That's a section of track that if you get right, you know you get it right. Martel to the inside, thought better of it. Almost thought there was going to be contact there.
Yeah, there's just not really much of a gap at that right-handed dirt hairpin. You really have to hope the other guy makes a mistake, or you have to punt them to get away through here. But I think Martel's going to take the Joker here. As I say that, he goes right into the Joker, runs a bit wide, but that is him in the lead for now. We'll have to see if Clog responds next lap and tries to hang on to the lead here, Josh.
That's such a smart move, and we talk about it all the time. Get your Joker out of the way when you're trailing. And we noticed that delta there. Now if you're Josh Clog, you got to push hard like he's doing right now. And Martel has to be careful. He's got a marginal delta over Clog here.
Clog had a much better line from the dirt section there. Martel pulls a little bit of a gap back through the hairpin, but I think Clog, when he Jokers here, he's going to be in the lead, or they're going to be side by side going into turn 1, so this has a chance to be real chaotic here.
Let me tell you.
As I say that, Clog doesn't take the Joker, and he runs wide through the final corner. I think he might have just blown his chance, Josh.
Let me tell you, side by side, I did it on the last lap. We're coming to the white flag in my final race here in 2020A, and I ended up in the fence because you take your Joker, come to the white flag, and you think it's a good idea, and then you're side by side with the guy that you're racing. Side by side through that chicane doesn't work, ends in tears, and I agree. Clog ran it wide there in the final corner, I should say, as they're coming up to the back straightaway to the final corner. We're going to see Clog run to the Joker and see what will happen here. We're going to take a look from high above.
Martel has pulled a monumental gap on Clog, as Clog's almost crashing through the Joker. Martel's clear of him by a few tenths there. He really had to take that Joker last lap if he wanted to fight for the win. Oh, that was the end of the race. Okay, I apologize, Josh.
I was waiting for you to take that, and then I was just praying that you wouldn't mess up, but it's okay. I still mess up.
We need a few extra laps, Josh.
Francois Martel wins heat number 1 here in Daytona Beach. Clog, McKenna, Quinn, our running order. We have both championship leaders and both Robichaux in this heat race. So we have Alex Abetty, Justin Robichaux, Cody Crosgrove, Jake Robichaux.
Yeah, it should be a party between the Robichaux brothers here. It's nice to see the 2 Fiestas on the grid already. I don't remember what the Robichaux brothers are in, but
they are not brothers.
It's always
Phil.
Nice. They are not brothers.
No, Jake Robichaux is Justin's dad.
All right, the father-son combo.
Getting ready for heat number 2. Welcome to NASA Rallycross, where our commentators don't know what we're talking about. Green flag here in Daytona Beach. What a run for Abetty off the line! Justin Robichaux comes over into Cody Crosgrove. And our defending sportsman champion having some issues in the 93.
Yeah, that just looked like consequence of how
Jake Robichaux off the jump into the tires. He does a board slide grind after he bounced onto the off the dirt. Crosgrove to the inside, and Abetty loves this.
And it's definitely not the start the Robichauxs were looking to have there, Josh, but. Yeah, that start incident between Crosgrove and Robichaux, I think that's just a consequence of the grid here, because you kind of merge onto the track from the grid, and there's that grass on the left-hand side, and Crosgrove was just trying to avoid that, and Robichaux, he kept himself straight off the line, and they just ended up meeting in the middle, and obviously it didn't work out that well for Robichaux, as Crosgrove goes around Jake Robichaux for second. As
Jake Robichaux, in his 5th start here in NASA Rallycross, was in front of our sportsman points leader, and off the road he goes in the 69. Here comes Justin Robichaux in the 93 for Woven Planet. Woven Planet not having the best of seasons in the Constructors' Championship. It's honestly interesting that they're not, but they're down in 5th, but they've only had, really, Jess Rakowski and Justin Robichaux. Brock Quinn making, as he did race earlier in the season. I'm crazy, he just didn't make a feature race. Crosgrove passes Robichaux. What happened to, did I miss something? We'll have to go back and take a look, or if you can. But Abetty is gone from Justin and Jake Robichaux and Crosgrove.
Oh, Crosgrove lost the rear coming off the dirt section approaching the hairpin, Josh. You know that little bump in the track? It just spit his
Oh, that's
sideways
my
and
favorite
flew off the
part.
track.
So apologies there that we probably watched it happen, and I'm trying to go over Justin Robichaux's team not having a great time. They're 6th, 5th in the Constructors' Championship. Jake Robichaux hits the sleeping policeman, saves it. No, he doesn't. Into Crosgrove.
Justin Robichaux benefits from all of this, Josh.
The guy who got turned on the start. They're 12 seconds behind the race leader, Alex Zabetti. This is our Joker strategy. Nobody's jokered. So everyone has had an issue from 2nd to 4th. And we're coming to 2 laps to go.
I bet neither of the Robichauxs thought they were going to be fighting for the transfer after that messy first 2 laps they had, but one of them's in the transfer spot and one of them's breathing down the neck of Crosgrove.
As Jake Robichaux overshoots the jump there in the 69, Alex Zabetti, 12 seconds up the road. He could drive in reverse and still win this race.
All right, let's not get ahead of ourselves, Josh. Have you tried driving this car in reverse?
I tried driving the old cars in reverse. It didn't work very well. We're coming to 2 laps to go. Zabetti, like I said, out in front away from the rest of the field. And Justin Robichaux, this is what he needed before he got turned on the start. Get some clear track, start pulling away. Crosgrove outbrakes himself down to the final corner. And they take 2 laps to go.
To the apex right for the end of the corner, though. I don't think it cost him that much, but Justin Robichaux last lap was 1.1 seconds quicker than Crosgrove, so he's really going to have to turn up the wick if he wants to challenge for this transfer spot.
Zabetti 40.663 for context. Robichaux on pace with Zabetti at a 40.763. The German, who won 2 weeks ago in Norway for his first win in the championship, will take the white flag in heat number 2. As Justin Robichaux still has not jokered in the 93. Crosgrove will outbrakes himself. He might get a penalty, Phil. I'm not too sure, but he blows through the Joker.
I don't think he will, Josh. He aborted before he turned into the Joker, so he should be fine, but I'm not sure how the sim will rule on that.
As I would like to think once you commit, you have to figure out how to get there. As Brian Sawyer mentions in chat, what a story. Justin went from spinning to 2nd. Zabetti jokers in the 99. The German's been uncontested in this heat race. He wins heat number 2 in Daytona Beach. And Justin Robichaux, after spinning on the start, right about there, will take to the Joker. As Crosgrove did not joker. Robichaux comes home in 2nd. Let's see if we can get that. Yeah, Robichaux. Crosgrove didn't joker.
It's going to be a disqualification.
He will get thrown to the back, yes. So he will, and that's crucial for the gridding of the semifinal here.
Oh gosh, Josh, I got to get in the car.
As Justin Ament, Brian Sawyer, Chris Wetz, Magnus Okenhaug for our 3rd heat race here in Daytona Beach. As remember, our broadcast and series brought to you by Overwatch Specialty Service. The only thing more unique than your problem is our solution. For more information, check out osscenter.com. For those of you joining here on the Automotive Sports Network, thank you. We're here for NASA Rallycross at Daytona Beach. 2 heat races in. We got 2 more left, a semifinal and a feature, so we got a decent amount of racing left to go. Justin Ament on pole position. Brian Sawyer, Chris Wetz, Magnus Okenhaug. 6 laps. Joker once. Green flag. 3 wide off the start. Ament gave him some room. 3 wide. Sawyer in the middle. Down to turn number 1. Wetz on the outside. The man from Texas trying to get some momentum in the 71. He does not. He gets passed by Magnus, who goes from 4th to 2nd as we begin the first lap. Single file. Very calm.
Yeah, you saw Wetz trying to power around the outside of everyone at turn 1, but it looked like the car just kind of started hopping and he had to get out of the power, and it's dropped him behind Magnus, and definitely not what he was looking for to drop to 3rd. I say that. He gridded 3rd, so he didn't really lose much anything, but you don't want to get passed by Magnus that early, because we know, even though the 26 didn't have a good qualifying effort, he's a very quick driver. As
we ride on board 26 and Magnus Okenhaug. Remember, we can't take the Joker on the first lap of the race, so it's going to be interesting to see. You got to be so easy on the brakes in these cars. We take a look on board the Volkswagen. Much more roll, for lack of a word, in that Volkswagen. Subaru seems much more stiff, and I think that was my issue. Or maybe it's the other way around. I struggled in the Subaru.
I think a bit of that might just be set up as well, Josh. I don't think that's just the cars there.
As we take a look at Brian Sawyer, who was in the production truck here in Daytona Beach last night for the Service Experts E-Roval Series, and now on track in the Ford Fiesta. That was a crazy race that we had, the debut race of that season. You can check out that coverage on ASN On Demand from Daytona Beach. Ament drifts around the corner. I don't know if that's a great idea. Magnus is going to exit the Joker. Be careful of the commitment line. I don't know if the sim's going to penalize him. And even if he it didn't get a penalty, squirrely over the jump. Here comes Sawyer. Everybody's brought into this equation.
Yeah, we won't know till the end, Josh, but Magnus, ever since he took the lead, it looks like he's missed every single apex on the track, but I mean, he's still in the lead, but Ament has the Joker still, so he just has to bide his time behind Magnus, but that's bringing Chris Wetz back into the fight. He's right there with Ament, and I think on the Joker rotation, he should jump both Magnus and Sawyer.
So we talk about Chris Wetz, third all-time on the wins list in NASA Rallycross. It has been quite some time since he has won in this championship. We will have to go back quite a ways to find his last victory. It was 2017 in Milwaukee, 2018A in Milwaukee. Huge amount of time ago, over 100 races, 104. So Magnus disconnect for a moment, having some lag there in the 26. Remember the Norwegian, deep on the brakes, Sawyer. Ament looks to the inside.
Right now, Wetz is losing time to these three, so you gotta think that he should be taking his Joker soon, just so he doesn't lose touch of these guys, and he can kind of control the pace from ahead of him. As looks like Ament was listening to me, not Chris, as he takes to the Joker, and he'll take back the effective race lead.
Magnus is gonna have the run. Ament crosses the commitment line as well.
Yeah, he was over it as well, so it'll be interesting to see what the sim rules. But back to Chris Wetz not winning for 100 races, Josh. As I say that, he flies off the jump and into the tire barriers. I shouldn't have started talking about him, but yeah, he's never really meshed with the iRacing simulation compared to NR 2000.
Magnus, not to cut you off, he was destined for the grass in that hairpin, and he saved it in the 26 and saved his transfer spot. But Chris Wetz didn't adapt very well. I didn't adapt very well. You did. You seemed like you were the only one out of the four musketeers that really figured it out. Wetz has not jokered as we take the white flag in true Chris Wetz fashion, Phil.
Yeah, this is a classic Chris Wetz strategy, but I don't think it's going to work out for him. He just lost too much time last lap over the jump. Yeah, he ran a 42.877 last lap. That was 1.7 seconds lost to the car ahead, so I think that's effectively taking him out of it, but you don't know. These three might trip over themselves still. They're all right on top of each other, Josh.
You don't remember when we were racing together in Indianapolis in 2017B. I rolled it in the hairpin, and he still won the race. It was bananas. Final corner for Justin Ament ahead of Magnus.
Sawyer
deep on the brakes as Sawyer locks it up. Final corner. Ament will win heat number 3 ahead of Magnus. Brian tried his hardest, and Chris Wetz, crossing the commitment line as well, will come home in 4th. I don't know if the sim will rule penalties, but we'll have to wait here.
They did rule penalties, Josh. The only one I saw was for Chris Wetz in the 71. It's marking him as 13 seconds off the win.
As Jess Rakowski on track, Palacio.
Sorry, Josh, I gotta leave you in the cube. I gotta get in the car.
As you did the one thing I didn't want you to do, and that's press the wrong button. So we'll see you pop out on track. We'll see you get off. We got 3 cars in this final heat race. Palacio, Huffman, Rakowski, as we get ready for heat number 4 in Daytona Beach. Green flag off the line. Palacio gets a good jump over Huffman. Rakowski waits. Tentative on the start. Bumps into Huffman. Into turn number 1. Huffman sideways in the 89. We might see a battle for the transfer. We know how fast Palacio is as we take the first lap. Over the jump. It's so hard. I wouldn't think that you'd have to actually calculate how far you jump and how fast you jump in these cars. But you definitely have to. And that's, going back to not adapting, I think that was part of my problem.
This definitely isn't the hardest jump on the sim to have to do that with. I'd say that's Phoenix by a mile. That jump, it gave me fits. And it even gives the pro guys fits pretty consistently. But yeah, you got to be really careful with how you take the jumps on iRacing compared to NR for sure. As looks like we got a bit of field spread in this race as Palacio leads from Huffman and then Rakowski running a distant 3rd at the moment.
As that race was pretty much, granted we have 5 laps, anything can happen, but I've seen it before where a race is pretty much run on the start, and Rakowski bumped into Huffman, who was sliding through the corner. We're going to take a look at the delta, the gap, I should say. 9/10 of a second, basically a second here, between Huffman and Palacio. As we shouldn't have an issue where 12 cars transfer. I believe I fixed that, so we will have a 10-car feature here in Daytona. So we'll have one semifinal from what it looks like. Top 2 will transfer.
If I'm looking correctly, Josh, I believe it says there's only going to be 9 cars, but I think that'll update once we actually get to the consolation race.
Should say 1 to the feature. It's always been broken, I believe, because it fills out. But you know how iRacing is. As Palacio 40.947, 41.397 for Huffman, and a 42.463 for Jess Rakowski. Managed to fix the livery on the 999. I had hide car numbers off, which broke a couple of those car liveries. So hopefully we'll be back in business here on the Automotive Sports Network. Hashtag NASA Rallycross, hashtag ASNTV USA to join the conversation. And programming note, next Sunday, the Service Experts E-Roval Series, New Hampshire. You'll join myself and Cody Erdman, 9 p.m. Eastern Time here on ASN Live on Twitch, or always on demand on ASN YouTube. So
I was just about to say, Josh, that Rakowski had caught Huffman by 2/10 that lap, and that wasn't going to be enough. But as I was about to say that, I saw Rakowski's car pointing the wrong way off the jump. I don't know if that was caught on the live feed, but she did a good job to catch it up. But that's definitely cost her some time, and she really can't afford to lose any time right now, as she's running out of laps.
41.994 for Rakowski, 42.253 for Huffman. 40.755, 571, I apologize there, that was his last lap. 2 laps to go for Palacio, the Argentine, in the 83.
Yeah, Palacio's in a league of his own this race. He just has to cruise, and he's taking a heat win, as last lap Huffman did a 41.333 and Rakowski a 43.040, so I think any chance of a fight for the transfer spot, barring any incident for the 89 of Huffman, is effectively off.
We come to the white flag, take a look at our jokers. Nobody's jokered, so I think Palacio knows he's leading. Huffman knows he's got a good gap. It was really in Rakowski's hands until she pointed the car off the jump there.
As Rakowski also doesn't joker. They're all going to leave it for the last lap, Josh. So one thing we haven't talked about in this heat is the penalties. If anyone goes over that commit line on the exit or entry, that could shake up who transfers, because they're all within the penalty range of that at the moment.
As that is assessed by the sim, I think it's at least 5 seconds. It could be more. It just depends on what it is there. And that would be a silly error to make when you have a spot guaranteed here. But
yeah, I want to say Wett's got a 10-second in the last heat, but Palacio, it's taken a very conservative joker. Definitely what I would have done if I was in the lead, is he wins heat 4. And same thing
so
for
does
Huffman.
Huffman.
He secures his transfer spot. And then Rakowski rounds the final corner to take 3rd place in Heat 4. Bit uneventful, that race, Josh. I'm used to the chaos. What can I say?
As it's oddly satisfying to not have a crazy heat race for once in the NASA Rallycross Challenge. Last week's winner, Carson McKenna, will be on pole position for this semifinal consolation, whatever you'd want to call it. Jake Robichaux, Brian Sawyer, Jess Rakowski, Brock Quinn, Cody Crossgrove, Chris Wetz. 7 cars, 2 spots. And
I know. I technically have a grid slot, Josh. Where's my call out?
You are in the retirement home, good sir. So this race, 5 laps, joker lap once. So this is a very tricky start, like always in NASA Rallycross, but it's make or break in these semifinal races as we get ready in Daytona. Jake Robichaux does a little bit of a jump start. Not sure if the sim's going to count that. Green flag. Off the line, McKenna, Sawyer, Robichaux, 3 wide down to turn number 1. Into the first corner, Quinn late on the brakes, into Sawyer, made it work for the moment. Rakowski sneaks to the inside, battling Sawyer as we begin the first lap of the race. Side by side through the dirt, it's Wetz, and is that Brock Quinn in the 005? It is. Sawyer wide in the 88, so is Jake Robichaux, nearly into the wall as Sawyer's not. He's into Crossgrove in the 28, the Sportsman Point leader. This puts Jess Rakowski into the transfer spot. As Cody Crossgrove, Chris Wetz, they get by Brian Sawyer. Robichaux gets hit by Quinn there. as Carson McKenna leads Rakowski in a transfer spot. Go ahead.
You know what, Josh? I think they heard us talking about how the last race was a little bit bored and there wasn't that much chaos, because that was a really chaotic lap one, and Jess Rakowski finds herself in a transfer spot right now. I didn't expect I'd be saying that. It's a bit of split fortune for the Renovo gang, as Rakowski's in the transfer spot, and then Brock Quinn's second last right now, only ahead of Jake Robichaux in the 69 car. But yeah, that was chaotic, Josh.
Rakowski holding off Cody Crosgrove with the blue plate. They are racing for a sportsman victory, I do believe. I'll have to take a look during warm-up when I step away, as we'll both step away. We'll have some engine sounds throughout that warm-up session, and we'll figure out who is where in sportsman. For sure, Rakowski is a sportsman driver.
It looks like the 71 of Wet's got to slow down, Josh. That might effectively end his chances of making the final. As I say that, Sawyer's flying in the grass as we
Sawyer jokers. Crosgrove passed Rakowski in the final corner. So put Crosgrove into the transfer spot. 41.230 to a 42.3. He was a second faster than Rakowski that last lap.
Yeah, McKenna's got to be loving what's happening behind him. As they're battling real hard for the transfer spot, and they're battling behind that as well. He just kind of gets to run away and control his race.
It's such a tricky spot to get right. That bump that you had mentioned, you'll notice, as trying to find a car that everybody passed it before I pulled it up, but that bump has affected me. It's where the asphalt joins together from the road course. Crosgrove still holds second. We take 2 laps to go, pulling a gap over Rakowski in the 999.
It's such a tricky corner, Josh, but I definitely think it affects the short wheelbase cars a little bit more, as Sawyer is all over the back end of Rakowski there. That's the last thing she needed. She's trying to catch up to Cody Crosgrove in the 28 car, but yeah, I think in the shorter wheelbase cars you definitely notice that a lot more, and you can kind of control it in the Subaru, so that's another benefit of the Subaru over the others. Just in general, as I was saying earlier, it's a bit more drivable than the other two cars, but I think on out-and-out pace they're all pretty similar.
Carson McKenna will round the final corner to take the white flag. Crosgrove will joker in the 28. Ahead of Rakowski, ahead of Sawyer. Rakowski locks up on entry to the corner. Sawyer sneaks to the inside, side by side into the first corner. Sawyer's going to back out of it as we take the white flag.
Yeah, Sawyer had to back out of that, and he's not really racing Rakowski because he's already taken his joker on lap 2. But obviously that's not going to stop him from trying to get past as he's looking up the inside through the dirt section. It'll be interesting to see if he sends a little bomb into the hairpin here as he's looking. Yep, there he goes.
Sneaks to the inside, has to get something done. Crosgrove has already jokered. We might see Brian Sawyer not in this feature race. Carson McKenna rounds the final corner. He will win the semifinal in Daytona Beach. We're going to have Cody Crosgrove round the corner. He will finish in second and transfer. And best of the rest will be Jess Rakowski in the 999 coming home in third. She will finish in 11th. 12th is Sawyer. 13th, Chris Wetz. 14th, Brock Quinn, and 15th, Jake Robichaux. As we're going to step away for just a moment, you're just going to hear some wonderful Rallycross cars for just a couple minutes, as my 14-year-old puppy has been annoying me to go outside, so I'd rather not have to clean something up in the house. So I will be back in a few minutes. Phil, you can hang out if you'd like, or we'll both be back. We'll figure it out. as we welcome you back to the Overwatch Specialty Service NASA Rallycross Challenge here in Daytona at the Daytona International Speedway. It's Josh Mertz and Philip Kraus in the commentary box for the Automotive Sports Network. Today, we're getting ready for a feature race here in Daytona. 10 cars, 10 laps, 2 jokers. As Magnus Okenhaug struggling there in the 26 in warm-up. As we take a look here, Francois Martel half a second up on Alex Abedi. And Phil, if you're there, I need to know your pick for this feature. Still Abedi?
Well, yeah, be boring this time. Actually, that's currently quickest in the warm-up session, Francois Martel for the race. I know he had a bit of a rocky start to his heat, but it's hard to argue with pace that's half a second quicker than anyone, isn't it?
As our series and broadcast brought to you by Overwatch Specialty Service. The only thing more unique than your problem is our solution. For more information, check out osscenter.com. As we get ready for round 221 of the championship overall and round number 5 of the 26th season of the NASA Rallycross Challenge in Daytona Beach. This is going to be a wonderful race. We'll take a look. Cody Crosgrove, I think, is running uncontested for the Sportsman win. No, he's going against Huffman, so we're going to be watching that as well. Getting ready here in Daytona. You think Crosgrove can maintain his points lead? Easy to maintain the points lead, but do you think he'll win that one?
It's hard to judge. He's got an uphill battle to fight for sure. He's starting last in this feature, but some could say that's beneficial because the start here is pretty messy, I'd say. But yeah, we'll see. We're just waiting on a few more cars to grid up so we can go racing here in the feature. So I think that's everybody.
3x3 by 2x2. Thank you all for joining us in the Automotive Sports Network as we get ready for round number 5 in Daytona. We go green in Daytona Beach. Off the line, Abedi in the middle gets a good jump over a Mint. He clears the 10 of Martel. Down to turn 1. 3 wide as well. In the back of the field, 1 car turn. It's Palacio. He saves it. It was off the front bumper of Okenhaug as we get ready to cross the start-finish line to begin the first lap. It's side-by-side, nearly 3 wide. Ament and Palacio. Robichaux with Okenhaug leading his Abedi right where he wants to be. 1 car wide. It's Huffman in the 89. He gets into his rival for the Sportsman race, and that's Cody Crosgrove, the points leader in the 28. Overall points leader Alex Abedi leads ahead of Martel and Clog, defending champion Josh Clog in the 199. Ament and Palacio, the rest of the top 5. Remember, we cannot take the Joker on the first lap of the race. I don't like this rule, but it's implemented by the sim. Why? No idea. But Alex Abedi loves that because he doesn't have to worry about any strategy as he leads at the end of the first lap.
Yeah, that contact, Josh, between those two Sportsman drivers, that all kicked off before the jump, actually. There was slight contact between Huffman and Crosgrove, which sent Huffman a bit offline, and then they collided the next corner.
Martel
but, yeah, definitely
into Abedi up front. Nearly made contact. I thought he nudged him just a pinch. Sorry to interrupt you there, but we were having some action up front. Top 3 under a blanket.
All good, Josh. Top 3 are under a blanket, as you were saying. But, yeah, those two Sportsman drivers, no love lost between them for sure. As we're going to switch our eyes back to the battle at the front between Martel and Abedi. It's going to be interesting to see if Martel tries to take his Joker early.
Nobody jokers.
We know he has the pace over Abedi. It's just a question of, is he going to try to get this pass done on track, or is he going to do it off strategy?
Jokering is Ament in the 12. So that's the first bit of strategy. He comes out in front of Justin Robichaux in the 93.
Yeah, I didn't see where he was before he jokered.
Magnus had connection issues onto the curb, and the 26 is around. Backs up into Crosgrove! No. And Magnus into our Sportsman points leader. And he might have...
I'm going to have to cut you off, Josh. We're side by side for the lead. Martel's going to clear Abedi through the, I guess it's a straight section? Not really, as Josh Clog's now looking on the inside of Abedi. The floodgates are open.
Abedi gets nudged by Clog, side by side for second now. Martel loves this. Clog to second, defending champion. And now Abedi, team leader from Crosgrove there, not happy with Huffman, or sorry,
it's
with...
going from bad to worse for Abedi. He's going to have a slowdown there. He cut the sleeping policeman on the inside, and he's having to go off the racing line just to let cars through and serve that slowdown, Josh.
As Crosgrove not happy with Magnus, Abedi stressed out, missing corners, and now we've got Francois Martel up front, who's
Robichaux looking at passing Abedi now as well. It's going from bad to worse for our red plate holder.
As he was leading a lap ago, and now He's in 5th. Jokering is immense, completing his strategy in the 12.
And Martel also jokered. That should alleviate any pressure that was potentially on him from the 199 at Clog. He can run his own pace, and that's a scary prospect for the rest of the grid, I gotta say, Josh. Just going off those warm-up results, and he won. I don't want to give that guy clean track. He's gonna rocket away from you, but it's looking like we're gonna have a close battle here for 4th between Huffman and Abedi. Abedi's just really struggling right now, and he's definitely feeling the pressure ever since he lost the lead.
As meanwhile, Robichaux to the inside of Huffman as we ride on board the helmet cam of the 89. They put those sleeping policeman curbs on the inside because people were cutting all of that grass. Let's see if there's going to be any joker here. No strategy. Actually, McKenna does, last week's winner in the 11. He's going to come out ahead of this gaggle of cars.
Of his whole gang. That was a really good call by McKenna, but is McKenna going to hold this gang up now? We'll have to see. Is this going to give Abedi some breathing room? Because he definitely needs it right now.
McKenna is by all of them, and that's on strategy. Palacio has not jokered. That's the worst part of this. I don't know why Marcos is taking so long to take his jokers. Abedi has one left. Clog does not have, or sorry, he's not taken any jokers.
Robichaux just snuck by on McKenna through the hairpin. That'll let him continue his chase with Abedi. But yeah, I don't know why Palacio hasn't taken a joker. He refuses to take it again that lap, as we see Robichaux and Huffman both take to the joker.
As Martel up by 4 seconds ahead of Josh Clog, but like I had mentioned, defending champion Clog still has both pieces of strategy left here in Daytona. And
I don't think that's gonna matter, Josh. Martel went 9/10 of a second quicker than him last lap. He was our only driver in the 39-second bracket.
I think that's
Josh Clog a 40.8.
That's the fastest lap of the night at a 39. I don't think I've seen a 39 yet this evening.
No, actually it isn't, Josh. Lap 2. Oh, sorry, that was warm-up. My apologies. Yes, that is the quickest race lap of the night. Obviously, he did a 39.5, I think, in qualifying, but yeah, blistering pace from the 10 car tonight.
3 laps to go for the French-Canadian Francois Martel, a 2-time winner in the NASA Rallycross Challenge. He won last season. He won in Wild West and Atlanta.
I'm going to have to cut you off, Josh, because there is a bit of a ding-dong going on for 5th place right now between the two TWR cars and Justin Robichaux. It was pretty exciting over the jump, but it looks like Robichaux has a slowdown, so that fizzles out right as I mentioned it, sadly. But yeah, they were...
Huffman into the wall.
Grabs the wall. I don't think that really damaged his car, but yeah, as I was watching that, they were like 3 cars under a blanket over the jump. I thought that was going to get chaotic between those guys.
As I don't think that Huffman's got any competition since Crosgrove had his issue, but I'd have to take a look while I get a moment. 2 laps to go for our race leader, Francois Martel. And now Clog's going to have to joker if he hasn't already. He still hasn't. He's going to have to in these last 2 laps.
Yeah, he hasn't joked yet, but you know what's interesting from these top 4 cars? Alexander Abedi, he's been able to get himself back into a rhythm, and as we know, Mertz has taken both of his jokers. Abedi's only taken 1, so he's looking pretty good for that 3rd place. He's taken 1 of his jokers, so he's probably not going to get clogged, but he's back in a rhythm, and he's showing the pace of the 99 car as he takes to the joker for the final time here, and he's going to clear the 12 car of Justin Mertz.
White flag for Francois Martel. Josh Clog nowhere close, and Abedi might be back on the podium, salvaging anything he can. We remember the 2 championship seasons that you and I were both on the podium every single race, how hard it was, but how important it was at the end of the season to do that, to guarantee those good points.
Yeah, it's not going to be over that yet, though. Justin Mertz closed on him this lap, but it looks like he had a bit of a messy run through the hairpins, so that might give Abedi the breathing room he needs, but uncontested for Francois Martel as he flies through the joker and it's across the line to win at Daytona.
Win number 3 for the Canadian. Josh Clog in 2nd. Alex Abedi will come home in 3rd on the podium for the German. And when you can't get a win, you just have to make sure you're on the rostrum as Justin Ament best of the rest. 4th, 5th is McKenna, 6th Palacio, 7th Justin Robichaux, 8th Huffman, who has won in Sportsman unofficially. Magnus Okenhow comes home in 9th, and Cody Crosgrove, last of our feature runners, in 10th. As confirmation of that, as I look through this spreadsheet, he is the only Sportsman car, aside from Crosgrove, to make the feature.
Yeah, I know Martel won that race, but honestly, that was a really good salvage job by Alexander Abeti. When he got passed by Martel, it looked like he was completely out of a rhythm. He could have dropped down to like seventh. Josh, I don't know about you, but once uh, once the pressure behind him was alleviated, it seemed like he was able to get back into a rhythm and finishing on the podium. That's a big thing. Like you don't think of it as a huge thing, but yeah, as you said, when we were winning championships on NR, we were on the podium every race, and that's really what made those possible for us.
As I guess that was kind of your final thought / race recap / we're about gonna
All of the above.
all of the above is a couple programming notes, like I had mentioned. Sunday for the Service Experts E-Roval Series, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, myself, Cody Erdman, and Brian Sawyer, who will be in the production truck at New Hampshire for the Porsche Mission R all-electric sports car for that second race. And then we will be back next week for the Overwatch Specialty Service NASA Rallycross Challenge. And it is the first round of this season's Area 52 Designs Endurance Cup. And we've seen so many crazy races over the past seasons at that track in Michigan. But from all of us at the Automotive Sports Network, whether Brian Sawyer, even though he was on track today, Cody Erdman, Philip Kraus, my name is Josh Mertz. We hope you enjoyed today's coverage of the Overwatch Specialty Service NASA Rallycross Challenge, brought to you by Overwatch Specialty Service. The only thing more unique than your problem is our solution. For more information, check out osscenter.com. Tune in Sunday, tune in next Monday, tune in on ASN On Demand, hashtag ASN TV USA, hashtag NASA Rallycross. But congratulations to Francois Martel, win number 3 in the NASA Rallycross Challenge. Let's see if he'll continue the momentum next week in Bark River. But until then, so long, everyone.